The Apothecary Diaries, Chapter 43. The poisoner's game begins. They try to silence her with poison. Now Momo speaks back with venom. The palace awoke to tension. Whispers echoed through the corridors, replacing the morning songs. Rumors swirled about the collapsed court lady. Some said it was illness. Others said suicide. But Momo knew the truth. It was a message. And now they're waiting for my reaction, so she gave them one. She returned to the medicinal storeroom and left subtle signs: a jar of aconite placed on the wrong shelf, dried nightshade positioned at eye level, a bottle labeled camellia extract, a common painkiller. All of these were harmless to the untrained. But to those watching closely, they were anything but. To those watching closely, it was a warning. That night, she met Jinshi under the moonlight. He was wearing his court robes, meaning he had just left the emperor's side. "They're asking about you," he said grimly. "They want to know how much you've uncovered." "Enough to know who's bluffing and who's already dead inside," Naomo replied, smirking. Jinshi hesitated. "I could protect you," he said softly. "If you let me," Naomo didn't answer. Instead, she leaned closer. "If you protect me now, what happens when I need to burn this palace down?" Jinshi recoiled as if burned. "You wouldn't," he whispered. "It's our only chance," she said softly. "To stop the emperor, to save the people." Jinshi shook his head. "No, you don't understand. If you destroy the palace, you'll be destroyed with it." "There are ways," Naomo said, stepping back. "Ways that don't involve fire. Then you'll have my answer." The next morning, a maid entered Momo's room with a fresh tea set. But the maid's hands trembled. Too much, Momo thought, setting aside the painting she was copying. The girl must have seen the emperor last night. She watched as the maid poured the tea. Then, after a quick glance around, drank it down in one gulp. "Good," the maid said, her voice shaking. "Would you like some more tea, miss?" "No, thank you." Naomo replied, waving away the empty teapot. "You should rest. You look tired." The maid rushed out before Momo could stop her. "Belladonna," Momo muttered, testing the tea. "Again, they're getting desperate." She poured it down the drain. Calmly, "They think I'll crumble. They think I'm just a powerless little concubine. But they're forgetting who poisoned the king of Qin." Just then, Jinshi appeared at the doorway, his face etched with worry. "Are you all right?" "You were testing the tea?" Momo asked, raising an eyebrow. Jinshi stepped inside, closing the door behind him. "I couldn't sleep, so I brought you some breakfast." He gestured to the table where a simple meal awaited. But Momo just stared at him. "Why do you keep coming back?" "You know, this is dangerous." "Because I want to help you," Jinshi said softly. "Because I love you." Those words hung in the air between them. Momo felt her heart skip a beat, but quickly pushed it away. "Love is a luxury we can't afford," she said quietly. He sat down beside her, ignoring her words. "This whole situation is a luxury." "If things go south, I want you to run," Jinshi said suddenly. "Don't worry about me, I'll distract them." "What?" Momo exclaimed, reaching for him, but he was already gone. "Wait, come back," she cried out, chasing after him. She found him in the medicinal storeroom, surrounded by jars and dried herbs. "Jinshi, what are you doing here?" "It's safer in the palace gardens," he said, not looking back. "What are you talking about?" Momo cried, grabbing his arm. But he pulled away, his eyes blazing. "Do you really not understand? The entire palace is a trap. Every inch is controlled by the people who wish us harm." "I won't let them hurt you," he said fiercely. Momo felt a sudden pang of sympathy for him. Of course, this was all about protecting her. But she couldn't let him sacrifice himself. "Jinshi, please listen to me," she said softly. "No, you don't understand," he whispered, his gaze fixed on the herbs. "My father would never forgive me if anything happened to you, and you're putting yourself in danger for me. For someone you barely know." "I know you don't trust me yet," Jinshi said, turning to face her. "But I promise you, if you give me a chance, I will prove myself worthy of your trust." His words hung in the air between them, laced with desperation. And for a moment, Momo saw a flicker of vulnerability in his usually confident eyes. Suddenly, she understood that he wasn't just a pawn in this game, he was playing it too. And the stakes were higher than she realized. To win his trust, she needed to show him that she too was willing to take risks. But before she could respond, a loud crash echoed through the storeroom, followed by the sound of hurried footsteps. Someone was coming. Quickly, Jinshi grabbed her hand and pulled her toward a dark corner. "Hide here," he whispered urgently. Whatever happens, don't come out until I call you." Then, with a swift nod, he melted into the shadows. Namo stood frozen in the darkness, her heart pounding in her chest. She could hear voices now, growing louder with each passing second. She pressed herself against the cool wall, trying to make herself smaller, hoping that she would remain unseen. The voices stopped abruptly. Wazimomao sighed inwardly, relieved that she hadn't been discovered. But her relief was short-lived. She hadn't heard Jinshi return. In fact, she hadn't heard anything at all. She strained her ears, listening intently. The silence was deafening.